there, and welcome to Techopia. Today, I am with a phenomenal guest, which once again is bringing something new to the industry. As we already know, these days, as tech advances, countless of industries have bigger files and more of them. Our next guest wants to be a reliable delivery solution for these clients and in this industry. And in fact, actually, it's actually won an Emmy for it as well. So, first things first, Chris, thank you so much for joining us here from FileCatalyst. Share with us a little bit, firstly, what did you win this Emmy for?
Well, we were founded back in 2000, and we started working on file transfer problems back then. And we noticed around kind of 2004, 2005 that a lot of our customers were in the media and broadcast sector. And so with the move to HD, of course, video files got a lot larger. So there's a big need in the media and broadcast space for software to move files faster. So we were recognized a few years ago as one of the pioneers in creating the accelerated file transfer technology that's widely used in the media and broadcast space today. And it was pretty exciting to win that. It wasn't one of those things that you go to computer science in university and expect to win an Emmy award, but yeah, we were kind of we were in shock and awe when we won that, but very exciting.
I love it though, because it just shows you the possibilities of what is out there for companies. Like tech it's not just tech as an industry, tech is applicable to so many industries as well. So maybe you could share with us a little bit. Now we hear FileCatalyst, we hear transfer of files. Explain to me a little bit how what you guys do sets you apart from any other file transfer platforms or solutions for that matter.
Sure, and you know, I use a lot of analogies for this because I don't want to go too techno-babble right off the get-go. Traditionally, everybody's probably heard of TCP/IP. So TCP/IP is the backbone of the internet. It's the way that information gets across in a reliable manner. The problem with it is that its strengths actually become its faults when you're trying to move bulk data really fast. Okay, so imagine I'm trying to have a conversation with someone who's across the room and I have to relay that information through 20 people. I would pass the information to one, they'd pass it on to the next. And I had more bits of information, but I couldn't send any more information until I got a reply back from the final destination that they got that little bit that I sent in the first place. Okay, so now let's say I want to move things faster. Wouldn't it be great if I could start sending, the first piece got to the first little router or person along the way, I could start sending more without waiting for that acknowledgement. So that's kind of, if you think about that, if you have a large amount of data to move, if you can move a lot of things concurrently as opposed to waiting for acknowledgements, then that makes things a lot faster. Okay. Another thing that we can do is, let's say there's a limit on the package size that you can pass along to that end node. We can pass larger packages along, and many of them concurrently, whereas traditional file transfer methods can't. So with those two methods, we're able to send data hundreds of times faster than traditional methods, like FTP, if you've heard of FTP, or even downloading with HTTP in your browser. What's amplified things for us is that since the advent of HD and now 4K with video, the files have gotten so much larger, and now that the bandwidth is becoming a little bit cheaper, this virtual speed limit that you have with traditional file transfer methods become a lot more apparent. Okay, and so the software like ours is actually getting a lot more needed across industries, especially like the media and broadcast, where video files are just exploding in size, and all media in general are exploding.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true, because these days it's not just the actual broadcast company that has big files. It's literally Joe Blow down the street that is on his phone with his 4K camera or his, broadcast equipment that can do that and does need to move this content where he needs to post them and put them on these mediums to kind of share it with the rest of the world. So maybe you can share with me a little bit. I guess for you as a company, you've started in the early 2000s now, and you've really geared up to now. I mean, this is an overnight success, so to speak, as well as you guys have grown. What do you think is really the key driver behind the success of your company as well? Staying relevant within your industry, working to adapt and evolve as it grew, and once again, trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Well, there's a few things that drove it. As I was mentioning, the file sizes really kicked it off back in the 2000s. But lately, one of the big things that's driving our business is adoption of cloud technologies. So you've heard of Amazon, AWS, Microsoft, Azure. So these are cloud platforms where traditional software vendors are SaaSifying their products, so you can pay monthly and kind of go on that model. But the problem is the data that people have traditionally held on site, on premise, needs to move into the cloud as well in order to take advantage of those services. So in the last few years, that's really driven the need for FileCatalyst in the industries that are using those SaaS services. And that's actually across a lot of different verticals, but primarily for us, we're focusing on media and broadcast. So that's been the big driver. And then also the reduction in costs for high bandwidth. So people are able to send faster, but they're not able to utilize those links. So as the bandwidth gets higher and higher, the files get higher and higher, the need just continues to grow. And then of course, back to media and broadcast, you have these video files that are now 4K, and then talking about 8K at this point. So they're adding more and more resolution to the videos, so the problem just gets larger and larger. And it also extends across multiple verticals, as I said. So to a lesser extent, we deal with oil and gas industry, life sciences. So if you imagine DNA sequencing, these files are massive. This is when you think of big data. Those are the industries that you actually think of. And moving that data from one location to another to have it processed by these supercomputers takes a lot of time. You know, it takes a lot of time to ship hard drives and ship large storage devices. So that's really the problem. We allow people to use the internet connections that they have that they're paying for to effectively move this data around. So and it's just continuing to explode at this point.
Well, that's good news for the company as well. So I guess I should ask, where do you see FileCatalyst, in 3, 5, maybe even 10 years from now?
Well, what we're focusing on right now is just continually taking the technology that we have and make it more accessible to not only end users, but other companies to take it and integrate it into their existing technologies. So we put a large focus on that. We're also putting a large focus on evolving with the times with regards to licensing models. Traditionally, business would come to us and they would acquire perpetual license to our software, pay annual support and maintenance, but we're seeing a shift away from that towards more SaaS or consumption-based, especially in the media and broadcast space. Media and broadcast, they have a production, and it lasts a couple of months. So does it make sense for them to buy a piece of software that they own for forever when they only need it for a couple of months? They have a budget for that project. So evolving the way we license the product, I think, is a big focus for us moving forward. Being able to pay per gigabyte of data transferred. Think of it like topping up a calling card, or even if you want to say filling up your gas tank, you're only paying for more gas when you use it, right? So we're going to try and move towards that model with our software and allow people to use it in that manner, and at the same time making it more accessible. We're building APIs and SDKs to allow other companies to integrate it, so OEM our technology, and then we have our off-the-shelf products that we're making a lot more accessible, easier to use, so we can get it in the hands of as many people and as many businesses as we can in the next 5 to 10 years.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are here today with FileCatalyst. We are here with Chris. Thank you so much for taking the time, for sharing a little bit surrounding your company and the amazing things that you guys are up to. And once again, just right here in our neck of the woods. So really appreciate the effort that you made down here to come and tell us a little bit more what the company is up to. And we look forward in seeing how you grow and expand and just keep on transferring and keep on connecting and sharing that data, because there is just so much data out there these days. So it's wonderful to see that you're helping to facilitate that. And for those of you that's watching this, make sure that you check us out on techopia.ca. Make sure that you share this video with anybody within the industry, and make sure that you reach out to our guests as well, because this is what this is all about, is connecting tech, making these conversations happen so that you know what's happening right here in our neck of the woods. So thank you so much for joining us today, and all the best. See you guys.